All right, everybody, welcome back to the Sons of Saturday podcast. By the way, I have a little bit of a, if I move to the right, it follows. Move to the left, it follows. I did upgrade the camera this week. Pretty excited about it. We are here to talk about Virginia Tech crushing Boston College on Thursday night. It was awesome, awesome stuff. We are the Sons of Saturday. We both live in Charlotte. I am Billy Ray. This is Patrick. Both were at the game. It was tremendous. What else is there to say? 42-21 Tech wins, broke some records. pretty great.
Kind of fun that we're also both wearing maroon for Maroon Effect on Saturday too.
Yes.
We're already turning the page. We're ready to beat Georgia Tech. We're not going to just say, hey, we're going to bask in this 3-touchdown win and record-setting win. We got business to take care of on Saturday. We got Georgia Tech at noon, homecoming, but Thursday was a lot of fun. We can celebrate the win for the next 55 or so minutes on this podcast before we record for Georgia Tech tomorrow or Tuesday.
It's interesting because I didn't have the chance to rewatch the game until today, but the common theme that I received from Papa Mitchell was that the broadcast was just great. They made Virginia Tech look awesome. The entrance was great. ESPN was definitely on their A game with this presentation. So I just have to say, really enjoyed rewatching it. Had a blast.
How great is Matt Barry and Dan Mullen together? How much of game day, or not game day, Sports Center did you watch on Thursday? We were working up at the Apex Center, catching up on some work. So we weren't over at Dietrich Lawn. I think it's the Quillen Plaza. But Matt Barry and Dan Mullen, they were eating tailgate food. They were throwing around the beer pong. They were making jokes. A+ all around to those guys.
They love Virginia Tech unapologetically. I think Matt Barry just gets up. I'll tell you what, I was kind of out on Matt Barry in the beginning. Thought he was a little shtickish. I do that sometimes. I'm just like, I don't know. I just don't like him. I actually love Matt Barry. I've enjoyed every game that he's called. Dan Mullen's fantastic. So, no, there are so many great things. Do you want to just talk about some quick – we had an anniversary. Fun fact. So, on AC Memento, I log every Virginia Tech game that I've been to. This win officially puts me at a 500 record for Virginia Tech games that I have attended. Now, is that awesome?
No. Not a stat you really want to put out there. Really.
No, it's a stat, and I'm fired up to be back in at 500. Look, the New York Mets had a rough start to the season. They're playing in the NLCS. Season may end today. Don't hope it doesn't, but really excited about getting back to 500.
30th anniversary of Thursday Night Football in Blacksburg. I turned 30 in 35 days. 1994. A wise man once said, "Don't sleep on 94." Big year, kicked off college football on Thursday nights. Old school, Big East. That's what it felt like on Thursday. Virginia Tech owned Boston College. Really just have been owning Boston College ever since Brent Pry took over 2 years ago. But the storyline really, other than increasing our overall win total to 25 wins on ESPN Thursday Night Football, was the Bhayshul Tuten show. And I remember when I was a young lad in November of 2008, it was November 5th or November 6th, number 23 Maryland came into town. I was in 8th grade, and it was my first ever Thursday night football game in Lane Stadium. My dad took me down, and Tyrod Taylor had an ankle sprain, so Sean Glennon got the start. Again, this is 2008. We had a little rocky start in 2008. This was the ECU loss in Charlotte 2008 year, and a couple suspect conference losses to Boston College, to Florida State. This team had its back against the wall in early November. And then this guy named Darren Evans from Indianapolis, a redshirt freshman, number 32, had 32 carries that night and ran for 253 yards. And only one touchdown, which is still the craziest part of the night. if you run for a quarter of 1,000 yards in one night, but only get in the end zone one time. Did have Dustin Keys kick 3 field goals that night. But this was the Bhayshul Tuten show. We gashed Washington College last year on the ground, and Bhayshul Tuten had 3 touchdowns on the ground last year. This year, he said, hey, listen, I'm going to get 3 more touchdowns on the ground. I'm also going to catch a touchdown. And I'm also going to set a single game rushing record at Virginia Tech and go for 18 carries, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns, a long of 83, another long of 61. It was absolutely incredible. The fireworks did not stop at Enter Sandman. They were going on and on and on. It was fireworks. It was Skipper. It was tugboats here, tugboats there, tugboats everywhere. An incredible night. Billy Ray, we have some haikus to read, but before we do that, we just have to talk about those long runs were awesome. He only had 18. That's crazy. 18, 14.8 yards per carry. But what was also crazy was just in the fourth quarter, knowing that we were close to the record. He was at 243.
I'm so glad you brought it up. Yeah.
He's at 243. Billy Ray has the stat sheet. He's like refreshing. He's like the only guy in Lane Stadium who could, somehow access LTE. And we're 10 yards away. I guess 11 yards away from breaking the record. And we're all kind of just freaking out. We're like, okay, well, we're up 3 touchdowns. Is he going back in the game? Malachi Thomas comes out on that last drive. Yep. And then I don't know if he got dinged up or not, or they realized that Tuten was about a first down away from breaking the record. And there's some jibbing and jabbing going on in the section. Hey, take him out of the game. We need to preserve him. We know he's been battling something. He's finally got the brace off. He's had a heck of a night. But coaches left him in and said, hey, go ahead and get that record. And he did it. And the celebration of him just sticking his hands up in the air, like, I'm just so freaking happy for that guy. So freaking happy for that guy.
What makes it so special too is he's played amazing in every single game that we've had this season. And some of the moments that I remember before this game of Bhayshul Tuten are him remaining on a knee after the Rutgers game when we lost that football game. I think that was the one image that was burned into my head. And you were kind of like, are we going to have a scenario where this back never really has a moment that, I don't know, kind of where he can self-realize how amazing what he's doing really is. And I think it really hasn't hit Virginia Tech fans about how special he is. And I think we'll talk about this later with the offense, but the offensive line, some of the holes he was running through were massive. And he's just such a fun player, doesn't say a lot in media, not an in-your-face kind of guy. He does have some fun end zone celebrations, which he busted out in this last game, but I really was glad that he had this moment on a national stage to break an incredible record. I mean, when Malachi Thomas comes in the game, you're like, do they know? Like, do they know? Do they know that he's 10 yards away from this record? I'm screaming down to Scooter Waller. I'm screaming down to Chris. I'm screaming down to everybody. I'm like, Bhayshul Tuten needs like 6 yards. Like, he needs 6 yards and he will be the all-time leading single game rusher in program history. And not to mention, Pat, he's pretty close to breaking. I'm not going to say he's pretty close, but he's on pace to be in the conversation for breaking the touchdown record in a single season.
He has a knack for the end zone. I think one of my favorite parts about Bhayshul Tuten is that he's the ultimate leave no doubt guy too. Like the latter half of last year, he was ripping off huge runs and kick returns at UVA, the kick return in Florida State, the Tuten Hill, the lawn at UVA up on the hill there. He needs 6 yards or whatever it was. It was something in single digits. And Tuten's like, no, screw you guys. I'm going to give myself as much distance as possible between me and this record. And he goes off for a 17-yard gain, which was, just slightly above his average for the evening to get the record. Tuten, yeah, it's unbelievable. Tuten's touchdown stats. Let me just pull this and make sure I am accounting for the receiving touchdowns as well. He has 871 yards on the ground on 125 carries. It's good for 7 yards per carry. He has found the end zone 12 times on the ground this season, and then receiving, he has 2 touchdowns. So 14 touchdowns in 7 games.
Pretty good.
Pretty incredible. Really special player. And oh man, we're gonna talk about like our favorite Tuten touchdowns. I just wish this guy got the ball more at Vanderbilt, man. Like I know, like I was very vocal on this podcast, very vocal on Twitter.
Let's not do it. We're back. Let's leave September in September. But yes, I wish several things were different about the month of September. But Green Day has woken us all up. September has ended. And we're on to October, which has bared quite a bit of fruit.
I'm so freaking happy for him. I'm just so happy for him. In some pregame analysis, they were previewing the matchup, and they were saying that it was essentially the matchup was Tuten versus Boston College's front seven and their linebackers specifically. And it said, "What's the verdict?" And the prediction was it's going to be a draw. Like, and I think that's like maybe they'll hold him to 90 yards. And Tuten posted the screenshot and said, like, "Yeah, all right, you know." And he totally embarrassed whoever was the writer of that article. So super special night. Really excited for him. Number 33, retire 33. Billy Ray, do you have anything else to add before we jump into the haikus?
No, when we win, we read a lot of haikus. So we got, I think, 6 of them, maybe 5. Maybe we got 5. We got 5 of them.
Here's one from Jamie. Jamie actually has, for the first time ever, we have received a Hokie haiku that is titled. The title of the haiku is called The Third Quarter Haiku. Total elation, a blowout in lane primetime. Wait, what just happened? Beach
Scary
Hokie.
third quarter.
Scary third quarter. Beach Hokie VB. 3 quarters perfect. Yay, Tuten got the record. Hokies came to play.
Wouldn't be a podcast without some Pete McGee. Titanic Tuten, Bhayshul beats breaks off BC, retire 33. Dave, Tuten set the tone, then Hokies made us nervous. We ran the damn ball. Shout out. There was a run the damn ball hat in I think section 129 or 128, one of the sections near us. And then Christopher Shutt, Ryland in beast mode, rootin' Tuten was scootin'. Tech secured the win. Very well done. Very, very well done.
We did in the Section 5 win pick, which we are still doing, by the way. Come on down if we get any more wins this year. Knock on.
It's hard with the seats. I think that's what really deters people from speeding down the aisle.
Really tough.
Makes it challenging.
Billy Ray did call out. He said, "Everyone throw up your threes to honor 33." So I thought that was a nice little homage.
You like that? Yeah.
Where did we watch? Where did we tailgate?
I had a busy week, Pat. I mean, one thing that I do on Thursday games that's kind of silly is whenever we play on Thursday, I always say, like, what a great weekend it was. And it just wasn't. The game was on literally squarely in the middle of the week. But got down Wednesday, did our basketball shoot, which was great. That will come out a little bit later. We've had some awesome content already come out from Chris Jones. Chris Jones, Grant Burrell, Will Trent all did a fantastic weekend on content. This is kind of our big content week. So it's down at the basketball facility. Then we hit L-Rods and Tots with Carly and Ed Williams and Brian Williams, Juliana and Chris. Had an awesome time. Sam Jesse was there as well. He was in town, worked on the basketball stuff. Watched some baseball. I got to tell you, Bull and Bones and the L-Rods, like walk across the street, is a real nice vibe. You can swing by Alumni Hall. Pat, I'm glad you held me accountable because with the orange out, like I railroaded everybody. I was like, you need to wear orange. And then I was like, I don't have any orange. So
flip-flopping BRM over here.
you got me into Alumni Hall and I got myself right, luckily. So did show up in orange. and then tailgate at the German club after work in the morning and the afternoon. And then game day. Great time. Awesome time in Blacksburg.
Great to crush the Apex Center. Always is. Went into PKs. Saw some familiar faces down at PKs. Dan and Barrick and Fritz and Hokie Nation Nate. Saw Paul Bertner down in there, the Holmes family.
Oh, man, I saw Paul too. I'm mad I missed Coach Holmes, man. I'm sorry. I'm so upset I missed Coach Holmes.
That's tough. But we did Aaron, it was Aaron's first game since graduation. Good to get Aaron back in Blacksburg, 1-0 in games post-grad. And we spent most of our tailgating over in Lot 1. We only got about 2 hours of tailgating in. Work ended pretty late. What's shaking over there?
I was just gonna say I had the opportunity to check out the new Sharkies layout. Very nice. My only it's not a gripe because it just opened. Got to get some pictures on the wall, given kind of like new garage vibes. And I know that's gonna come with time. We got to get some stuff out on there. But number one, I think it's gonna do a great job of cutting down on the amount of traffic that we have in Blacksburg. But ran into Chris Coleman. Ran into some other Hokies from Atlanta, which was great. Back in my 2 chapters of life in Atlanta, but really nice.
We did have a. You still going?
No, go for it.
We did have a fun anniversary celebration at the tailgate as well. Laura Ross and Brad Ross.
Paging Brad Ross.
Great to meet them. Over with Hamid from Substation 2. We had Substation too. Subs at the tailgate, which was awesome. Thrill. Nothing short of a thrill. So that was a special moment.
Got to talk about game day. Number one, the orange uniforms looked perfect. Like when I saw them come out on social, I was like, okay, these look pretty good. When you see them under the lights, they're an awesome looking uniform. Really, really well done. The field painting, didn't love it during the day, loved it at night. Thought it looked fantastic at night as well. Prize favorite, Hokie Bird logo. He absolutely loves that thing. Got it on those jerseys as well. And I have to say, Pat, I want you to pick your hand up. I want you to put it behind you, and I want you to pat yourself on the back. I'm going to pat myself on the back, and I gave Jay a pat on the back as well. The in-stadium music was fantastic. The entire game. It was great. We had no BS. None. There was no like 5th grade water polo playlist music going on. We had zero Shut Up and Dance. Shut Up and Dance wasn't played in Lane Stadium for the first time, I think, since it came out, which was great. They played Fiend, they played Swag Surf, they played New Level, some rap to get the people going. Also, they played Wonderwall. It was the karaoke song. I feel like the karaoke song, because some people are like, wait, we're okay with Wonderwall? Yes, we are fine with Wonderwall. They played in Big Al's, they played in Sharkies. It's the karaoke song. As long as we're not playing it going onto the field on 3rd down or, before an important football play, 100% approval rating.
And the game was out of reach by that point too.
Exactly. I have a gripe to bring up. Do you have anything else on the music? Because I do have one gripe.
I have a thought on the music. I also think the jerseys, just to jump back really quick, I like jerseys a lot. I thought the helmets looked so sick.
Oh, the helmets were great.
I want more script Hokies on all types of memorabilia. But I will say I liked Hokies across the chest, not Virginia Tech across the chest.
Yes.
I know these ones are the Virginia Tech ones. I know we wore the ones with Hokies a few years ago. But, when you're watching the football game, unless you're really zoomed in close, you can't even tell anyway. So it looked really good on TV.
For whatever reason, if you're listening to this podcast and you don't know what the jerseys look like, watch the games, number one. Number two, they looked like the jerseys that we wore against UNC in 2017 or 2016, whatever year it was. It was almost like a carbon copy of that uniform, except it didn't say Hokies on the front and they had the Hokie Bird logo. There were a couple minor differences, but it seemed like the message was, hey, people love this uniform. Can you make it again? And they did, and it looks great. So,
and I think the ones from 2017 were a little more like reddish orange. They were kind of like a little bit more neon. And I know we were trying to get more back to like the burnt spectrum, you know, more so the traffic cone. But back to the music. I need to hear Put On louder. Like I've already said this earlier this year, but after Enter Sandman a cappella stops,
we called it out.
Off to Neverland. And then like we need the explosion of Put On. And I like have to like listen for it. It needs to hit me in the face. Yeah. And we need to actually put it, if we're gonna put on, we gotta put on, because I was put off by the volume being on volume 2, not volume, 11, which it should be. IMO.
This is my gripe. This is my gripe. Every play is a key play. Every play is important. Every play matters. Every play calls gravity. We can't have the PA saying Hokies, it's a key play, when we already have third down as the key play. He said it was a key play on second down probably 5 or 6 times.
It was really not good.
It was tough. So need to iron that out. We fixed the acapella with Sandman. It was great. Really, really good. Really good. I think the timing of that has been a little bit of an issue. I think we ironed it out.
Well, we only had like 2 Let's Go Hokies back and forth. It's like, let's go Hokies, let's go Hokies. Yeah. We're like, whoa. I didn't budget for this. Like, what happened? I also another thought. I was paying pretty close attention, but like when we recorded a sack and we had 4 of them on Friday or on Thursday night, every single time the Marching Virginians cue up, "We will rock you," but hey, we just sacked you. And at least once, maybe 2 times on Thursday night, the in-house venue music, we're like, 6 seconds into the band playing "We Just Sacked You," and then like some like random music pump up song blasts over them and totally drowns out the band, which I think sucks personally. So again, don't like that, but we're making strides here.
Any other notes? I think those were good notes. I think we made progress, and there are still things that we can improve on from the game day.
It's a lot easier when we're winning.
Yeah, it is a lot easier. Last thing. I know it's Thursday night. I understand it's Thursday night. I understand some people may have class. Some people may have assignments. Some people may need to go to the grocery store. We can't be leaving games early. It's a problem plaguing America everywhere. And I want to call out some other schools. Like NC State is playing a night game and their stadium's 60% full. UVA is playing a night game and their stadium is 30% full. This is not like a Virginia Tech problem. This is, to be completely honest, an ACC problem. But we cannot participate in this tomfoolery. Like, that can't be an issue at Tech. So I'm not going to come here and scold students. We're up 28-0, but I really would like to not see the stands empty at halftime. We have so many positive things to talk about the game. I know we've gone 25 minutes, but I had to bring this up. Like, man, it was tough to see.
Yeah, I guess like if you want a good product, here it is. We're up 28-0. Like, I guess like what? Why aren't we hanging around? Number 33 just had a record-breaking performance. That was a record that was intact for 16 years. It probably won't be touched for a very long time. And a lot of people missed it. Thousands of people said, I don't, whatever. I guess it is a sign of the times. It's a sign of the generation. It's it's a bummer. I don't know what the solution is. Is it make beer in the third quarter $3 instead of, $8 or whatever it is for students only? Keep them in if they just want to go out back and go downtown or go back to the party. I don't know what the solution is, to be honest with you. All I can say is it's a bummer. And, I'm sure if it happens at Tennessee or South Carolina or Penn State, they probably have some form of this too. But I hate seeing it, especially on Thursday Night Football.
Let's talk about the game. Really weird stats from this game. It was a very weird box score game. Virginia Tech had 532 total yards. We scored 42 points. We punted only 3 times, but we were 2 of 9 on third down. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Very, very odd. But starting the game could not have been scripted better. This was Boston College's first few drives. Punt, fumble, punt, halftime. Great stuff. Now, for the season, we've been saying, can we start hot? Can we come out of the gate hot? We did it against Stanford. We did it against Miami, and we did it against Boston College. Virginia Tech's first drives, 11-play, 88-yard touchdown on a drones run. 4-play, 19-yard touchdown on the tush push with drones. Touchdown in 2 plays, 94 yards. Tuten had both carries. Fumble. Karen had a big run for a big gain, got struck from behind. Punt, touchdown, 6 plays, 85 yards. Wow.
I thought that drive right before half was the Bowen in his bag moment of the game. Where we're up 21-0. We got a minute and some change to go. And it's, hey, full on pedal to the metal. Let's get out of here with some points. And Tuten sets the tone with 20 yards or whatever it was. And then you have Kyron Drones just thrown on the run, rolling out to his right, hitting Benji. I know you love that Benji catch.
It was the best catch I've seen all year by a Tech receiver. I know that I had given it to Steven Gosnell on his layout. The body control that was necessary from Benji Gosnell to get the foot down that wasn't the natural foot to hit the ground first was tremendous. It was also a great throw by Kyron to put it in a place where only his receiver could catch it. I just thought there was no way he'd catch it. I also remember being in the stands for this where it almost felt it happened right in front of our face. And to the point where I turned to Ed and I was like, I literally heard the ball hit his hands. Like I heard, and it hit his hands. And I was like, did he just catch that? There's no way he caught it, right? There's no chance. Of course, he clear as day caught the football on the replay. So the belt, the Benji, or no, not the Benji, the Gosnell brother belt, I think, is in Benji's hands now. So Steven, it's your move. Your move, brother.
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. I still think it's hard to contest with that Marshall catch. That Marshall catch.
They were both great. They were both great.
Special. But how special are these guys, Benji and Steven Gosnell? Speaking of, we just had a brother commit just about an hour ago. Lauren Johnson's other son, Braylon Johnson's younger brother. Families love Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech loves families. Shout out to Benji and Steven for making it happen. Drones rolls out. A couple plays later, does the same thing, scampers out of the pocket, and then finds Bhayshul Tuten right before hitting the end zone. 20 yards, touchdown Hokies, go up 28-0 right into halftime, which was I was feeling halftime. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like the Syracuse game all over again from last year. We're just got this nice, firm, comfortable lead in halftime. We're just gonna hang out. It's gonna be awesome.
Game's over.
We could leave if we wanted to, right? I say that tongue in cheek. Please don't.
So Tech scored 14 points in every quarter, minus the third quarter, which was absolutely horrifying. Boston College, 21 points in the third quarter. Drive chart looks like this. Virginia Tech's getting the ball at halftime. We're crushing them. Like, Bill O'Brien, thanks for coming out. Like, thank you. We're about to spank you for 2 more quarters. But Bill O'Brien rallied the troops. Virginia Tech punts. Boston College touchdown in 6 plays for 80 yards. The wide receiver was naked on this wheel route that they ran. Very well designed play. Then Tech comes back, intercepts the ball, really bad, or throws an interception, really bad interception, thrown right to the defender. Had to be some sort of miscommunication. But Boston College gets the ball on the 29. They score in 4 plays. And again, literally nobody is covering the tight end. It was kind of like a Ryan Mallett special where he pretended to block and then snuck out and nobody was looking at him and he was just wide open. So they score again. And then Virginia Tech fumbles the football. Bhayshul Tuten rips off a nice run, gets stripped from behind. And then Boston College, this was after we started on the 10-yard line following a bad kickoff return. And Boston College scores in 6 plays and 16 yards. On that play specifically, Robichaux scored on 3rd and 3 from an off tackle play. We had 2 guys literally standing in the hole. Neither of them made the tackle. So it's 28-21 with 2:55 in the 3rd quarter, with Boston College having to go only 125 yards in 16 plays to make it a 1-score football game. And I got to tell you, Pat, I've had some low moments in Lane Stadium. It really was up there. Like, it was like, I can't believe this is happening. There was a Josh Pate tweet, which is actually funnier because on my drive back to Charlotte, I was listening to Josh Pate's podcast and he was recording during our game. And Josh Pate is like doing 8 minutes on Virginia Tech on how like nobody's talking about them. They're playing really well. They're beating the crap out of Boston College right now. You know, so we're getting Josh Pate back in. And then he tweets all caps, "No, Virginia Tech, not this way." I think that encapsulates how everybody felt in that moment. But and then after that, Pat, after that, we go 3 and out. And thank goodness Boston College goes for it on 4th and 1 at the 49. Jaden Keller snuffs it out. And then we take from there, we resume what we were doing in the first half. But it was a very awful 10 minutes. Awful. Horrifying.
I turned to Aaron during that period of time where they had the football, about to go tie it up because they were at the 49-yard line. They were knocking on the door. It's 4th and 1, and I say, "Hey, I know like I've been yelling all night on defense. I really need you to yell on this defensive play." And she's like, "Okay, I got you." and lo and behold, we do stuff them. Thank you, Aaron Keller. Thank you, Aaron. But that was going to be really, really, really tough. And I was like, "Hey, I'm so sorry for subjecting you to this here." But we figured it out.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't score on that next possession, but thankfully the 3rd quarter did come to an end.
Yeah. I have this in my post-game notes. These quarters where we just are like, "Hey, we're going to play 3 quarters of great ball." That 4th quarter is going to be pretty bad. We don't know when that 4th quarter is going to be that we play really bad, but we sure do square it in there unless we're playing Stanford or Miami. So yeah, just gotta get that ironed out. Talking about the offense specifically, and I think this was kind of glossed over. I kind of blew up a Pitt fan who tried to like downplay it a little bit. Coming into this game, Boston College was giving up 113.6 rushing yards per game. That's good for 30th in the country before this football game. Virginia Tech finishes with 368 yards on the ground, 9.2 yards per carry, and then you have the 266 from Tuten at 14.8 yards per carry. I mean, it's the 7th most rushing yards that we've had in school history. And if you listen to the broadcast, what was so cool is Matt Barry. You would have think we invented the running back position. Like he was talking, like we've had some great backs, but he was like, "Man, I mean, there have been some NFL backs that have came here, some All-American backs, and what Bhayshul Tuten is doing is unbelievable." Completely true. And what also is true that needs to be talked about is the offensive line played great. They really, really played well. They gave up 1 sack the entire afternoon. They gave up 3 TFLs the entire afternoon. The holes that Tuten was running through were massive. And I saw Parker Clements making great blocks downfield. I saw the Moores making great blocks downfield. They really did a good job. Johnny Garrett played a really good football game. So very, again, similar to the Syracuse game where everybody is like, our offensive line sucks. Our offensive line is awful. They played great. They played fantastic. They also got a game ball after the football game. I'm really, really happy for that unit and hopefully something to continue to build on.
Couldn't agree with you more. This offensive line, it was not fun. Early September, not fun. And then
do you remember?
Four out of the last 5 games, the offensive line has only surrendered 1 sack. I mean, I remember being in the stadium for Marshall, and we were just like, what are we going to do with this O-line? Like, how are we going to win football games this year? And now
it was distinctly different. This isn't like, oh, we had like, it looked different. Their body language was different. They were making blocks downfield. Like it looked like a unit that had chemistry and a unit that was rolling. And again, this is not against, little mama's house of the poor. Like we were playing against one of the better rushing defenses in the country.
And now you have a team that has scored 30 points, at least 30 points in the last 3 games. I know that stat, other than our Miami game, Pry has not lost a game where we've scored 30 points other than Miami. And the offense is averaging 32.1 points per game. So like this, very similar to last year. We're figuring it out. Unfortunately, it takes, we got some late bloomers, I guess, with how we just move the ball down the field and figure out who we really are. But at the end of the day, Bhayshul Tuten is the nucleus of this football team. He's the nucleus of our offense. And now that we've kind of realized that, we're taking advantage of it. Last year, we destroyed this Boston College team up and down the field. Mm-hmm. And we put up 600 yards. This year, we put up 532 yards. So in 2 games, 90 points on Boston College in the last 2 games, 117 if you include the third from 2022. So Brent Pry owns Boston College 3-0 versus Boston College since becoming head coach at Virginia Tech.
Kyron Jones
in that 532, that's 9.17 yards per play. That's some fancy stuff.
This is 3 straight games where Virginia Tech has scored on their first drive. Very well done. Awesome stuff. We've come a long way. Like these are improvements that we have been asking for, through the first 4 games. And we seem to have looked like a completely different team. Kyron had some serious mojo, which is another thing that I've been talking about. First drive, jawed at a BC defender after an 8-yard gain on first down. On the 11-yard touchdown run that he had on the first drive, he absolutely bulldozed. The safety hit him at the 5-yard line, and he completely ran him over and then dragged 2 guys into the end zone. I mean, it was great.
Logan Thomas stuff.
And then the play that you talked about right before the half, keeps his eyes downfield on a play that probably 9 times out of 10 in his tenure at Tech, he tucks it and runs it, but throws the ball down to Benji, gets us in the red zone, and we're able to punch that in. But his first half was absolutely tremendous.
12 of 13 for 144 in the air in the first half and a touchdown. And the one incompletion was a Allie Jennings drop that hit him, right in the chest. I do have a theory. My dad was talking to me about this yesterday. Listen, Ollie Jennings, he's been banged up. He's, we're trying to get him involved a little bit more. Missed him long in the third quarter. Maybe Ollie Jennings is going to have a big moment where we're least expecting it here down the stretch. Maybe it's going to be versus Clemson. Maybe it's going to be late in the game versus Georgia Tech. But I know that we really want to see Ollie Jennings be the Ollie Jennings that he wants to be, and that all Virginia Tech and Hokie Nation want him to be as well. So hopefully we can see that at some point throughout the rest of the season.
Real quick on it too. It's tough to come back from an injury like that, a traumatic injury like that. And just watching him, even though he's maybe, I don't know what percentage he is there physically. I don't know if it's 100%. I don't know if it's 70%. I really don't know. But you don't only have to recover physically from an injury like that. You have to recover mentally from an injury like that. And he is a really good player, and he's a difference maker. So it's kind of like a found money situation at this point, where the wide receiver room has been really, really solid. It's come in some places that we didn't expect it to come from this year. But, if he's able to come on in the back half of the season, where this team is completely unrecognizable from who they were in September. And I'm not just saying unrecognizable from who they were against Rutgers and Vanderbilt. Like, I'm talking about Marshall and ODU too. Like completely different looking team. From a coaching standpoint, from a body language standpoint, from a scoring points perspective, completely different looking team. And when Tech plays well, Casey said this yesterday, when Tech plays well, they look great. Like, they really do. They're fast, they're athletic, they're big, run the ball. We can throw the ball. We did have a couple of misses deep. I think we missed Daquan Felton deep where he was running down the field, probably overthrew him by 2 or 3 yards. But when they have it rolling, man, I genuinely think there's no reason that this team can't compete to win a conference title.
So I was right about to ask you, Billy Ray, if you could add one element to this offense that we haven't seen yet, what would it be? If there's some gray area you want filled in, for me, it would be that deep ball. That's the biggest thing that we have not seen from Drones yet this year. He has missed Felton deep a handful of times. Ironically, the only time that Felton was hit, on a pass, I guess more than 30 yards in the air, was the Miami Hail Mary throw. Felton had a 55-yard catch and run at Stanford, but it has been frustrated that they have not been able to link up yet. But otherwise, Drones is 28 for 37 with 365 yards and 3 touchdowns in his last 2 starts. That's per Bill Roth.
To answer your question, Tech's found a way to attack the middle of the field more effectively than they have. They figured out their balance in the run game. We're not seeing Kyron Drones run the ball, 30 times, which was completely unsustainable. And I'm glad that we've moved away from that. I guess there are 2 things. Number 1, yes, the deep ball. Number 2, a clear number 2 back. Like, we don't have a number 2 back. We see Malachi Thomas get runs in garbage time. We see Coney had a nice run in this football game. We don't have that number 2 back, and we haven't really needed one because Tuten's been able to shoulder the load. But there's definitely no like two-headed the two-headed monster is Drones, and it's Tuten. So I would love to be able to see us have a back that can be effective this year, and then also a path for next year who's going to be taking those carries when Tuten is playing on Sunday. So looking for answers there too.
A name that we haven't mentioned yet that deserves some flowers?
Please.
Aiden Green.
Yes.
Aiden Green. My dad was calling him the smoothest guy on the field. And I like that. I like that a lot. I do think he's extremely athletic.
Who does he remind you of?
I have a really hard time answering that question. I don't know if you have a comp or not.
He's so fast and he's so smooth. He's almost like a I don't have a comp.
It's like if Steph Curry played football.
That's a fun comp. That is a fun comp.
Aiden Green had 1 carry for 25 yards, and then he caught 1 ball for 14 yards. But
anytime he touches,
he's a walking first down.
He is. So walking first down, played really well. I think you'll continue to see him get featured more and more as time goes on. I have to shout out Ed Williams because he's been the biggest Aiden Green stock buyer that we've had. Brothers Gosnell, I see you have it here. 7 catches for both of them. I believe Benji was our leading receiver. One of the Gosnells were one of our leading receivers in this game.
So Benji 4 for 49. Steven 3 for 40. I mean, when you're only throwing the ball 18 times, Drones was 14 of 18. You're not going to have eye-popping stats show up here, especially when you're running for 360 yards. But it was a team effort. I know Tuten was the guy, but I do think it was a team effort, despite his accolades from Thursday.
Let's play a game. This game is called but name your favorite Tuten touchdown. I want you to tell me what your favorite Tuten touchdown was on Thursday, because we have quite a few to pick from. We have the 83-yard off to the races touchdown, where he had to motor. It was almost like the UVA game where he motored it down, but he timed the motor down perfect, and he kind of just like coasted in the end zone. Bhayshul Tuten decided to motor it down at the 45-yard line, which is a really early time to motor it down. And thank goodness he was facing the video board. Yeah, he must have looked up at the video board and saw that the Boston College guy was closing the gap. So he kicks it back into high gear and high fives a cheerleader. So that's one. Yeah, the 20-yard catch right before halftime. Beautiful throw from Drones, by the way, to get him into the end zone. A little bit of an awkward angle. Again, high five the cheerleader in the end zone. Then you had the 6-yard carry to stop the bleeding. This was like okay, like now we can take a deep breath again after that third quarter. Screams in a Boston College guy's face, like screams in his face, and then hits like this epic like stomp thing. It's so funny because Tuten's not a big guy, but he plays big and like he just doesn't play like his size. I would compare him much more to I almost went with like a Ron Dane comparison, but that might be a little extreme for his style.
Wasn't Ron Dane kind of tall?
Ron Dane was huge. What I'm saying is Bhayshul Tuten plays much larger than he is. And then he did this peekaboo thing. He had like these gloves that had eyeballs on it. It was very nice, very spooky. So I liked that. And then you had the 61-yard Tuten called ball game. He tried to hit like the Terrell Owens end zone celebration where he takes the pom-poms from the cheerleader and celebrates with them. Cheerleader wasn't having any of it. She might have saved us a 15-yard penalty. Personally, I might have taken the penalty because it would have been pretty hilarious. But what was your favorite touchdown?
Just before we dive into that, let me just confirm. Was it a cheerleader or was it a high tech? Because I think I did see something on the TL that it was.
Couldn't tell you.
I think it was high.
It was someone with pom-poms.
Okay. My favorite one, this is hard.
It is. So many touchdowns.
Because I loved how he called game, and the move he made to hit the hole was unbelievable, where he essentially stutter steps and shoots forward and accelerates through the hole. My favorite one was the first one because homie row in front of me, probably like 7 seats over, is wearing one of those Southwest Virginia shop run the damn ball hats.
Yeah.
And he like turns and looks at me and the guy Thomas that I'm next to, and he's like, dude. And he just points at his hat. He's like, come on. And the next play, Tuten gets the ball and goes for 83. And I was like, that was crazy. That was some voodoo type, I don't know how that all went down, but I was pretty excited about that. I don't know how we called that. It was Babe Ruth vibes. So that was my favorite because of what led into it as well as a fan.
I think for me, it's got to be the 61-yard call-in game one, because that run, I think immediately following that, we all started asking the question, like, he's got to be close to a single game record. Like there's no way. If he's not close to this record, then, like Zeus must own this record. So I love that. I love the celebration. It was hilarious. And he still hit the dance. He just didn't do it with the pom-poms. So they were all great. I enjoyed all of them.
David Cunningham put this out there. Player since 1987 with 200+ rushing yards. Michael Vick in 2000, 16 rushes, 210 yards. Kevin Jones did it in 2003 with 241. Mike Emo broke that record the next year, 243 yards on 32 carries. Brandon Orr did it back-to-back in 2006, which was crazy. 207 and 203. It was the Brandon Orr show. He had 23 carries the first time, 37 carries the second time. 37 carries is wild. Darren Evans, as we mentioned, 32 carries, 253 yards. And then Khalil Herbert did it in 2020, 19 carries, 207 yards. This was like a Khalil Herbert kind of night, too.
Yeah, it was.
I always just, man, I wish we got to see Khalil under the bright lights of Lane, but we will always remember him as the guy who got us through the COVID season. It's like, holy moly, just give him the football. Bhayshul Tuten, 18 carries, 266 yards. That's the craziest thing, is that every single performance I just mentioned, the only one that was less than 18 was Vic for 210 yards. So just absolutely psycho stats.
Yeah. Psycho stats.
Let's talk about the defense.
I just want to point this out. I tweeted this earlier from our account. Is everyone aware that Virginia Tech has the 5th best red zone defense in America? I don't think everyone knows that. I certainly didn't know it. I looked it up because I said, okay, Boston College fumbled the ball in our 10. We had the interception or fumble situation against Rutgers. And I believe we did it again against Vanderbilt. But Virginia Tech right now has the 5th best red zone defense in America. We're holding opponents to only 64.5 score rate in the red zone. I couldn't find a stat for red zone turnovers forced by the defense, but I thought that was pretty epic. Anyway, by the way, the Boston College, it was like the ball don't lie moment of the football game. Castellanos rolls out. You get the softest like late hit call in the history of sports. Mayhewl's getting in Castellanos' face. That was awesome. Absolutely loved that. And then immediately they have a fumble on the exchange on the 5-yard line. So that is what caused me to look it up. But the defense, look, held Boston College to 372 yards of total offense, finished with 7 TFLs and 4 sacks. Every one of them came from our guy APR and forced 3 fumbles as well. So solid job. Bend but don't break. When Virginia Tech needed stops and Virginia Tech needed to tighten up the screws, they did it every time. So
yeah, definitely some bend but don't break. It was tough considering we turned it over in our territory a few times in that third quarter. But generally speaking, really have to tip your cap to APR. I mean, this has been the Tuten show. Justifiably so. APR did have another 4-sack performance. He's going full on sicko.
Yeah.
It's his 3rd game with 4 or more sacks. And
incredible.
two of those times out, none other than Bruce Smith has been in attendance to watch him do it.
Come to more games. Come to them all. Get him on the team playing.
He's got 11 sacks on the year, and that is tied for 1st in the country. 25 sacks for Virginia Tech defensively all year. APR almost has half of our sacks.
What is our team record for sacks? What is our sacks single season team record? It's got to be Daryl Tapp. Please let me know what that is. While you do that, I'm just going to buzz through special teams because there wasn't a
Why would it be Daryl Tapp?
Who else would it be?
Bruce Smith.
How many games? I feel like the issue with that though is we didn't play as many games back in that time.
Let me look up the individual. But APR had 4 sacks against Wake Forest last year, 4 sacks at ODU this year, 4 sacks on Thursday night. J.C. Price had 4 sacks versus Miami in 95. Bruce Smith did it twice, 1983 versus Duke, 1984 versus William and Mary. Most quarterback sacks in a season, Bruce Smith, 1983. He had 22 sacks in 83. And for the career, Bruce Smith in 4 years had 46 sacks.
That's insane. That's crazy.
As you guys know, he is the all-time sack leader in the National Football League, has 200 sacks. He's an NFL Hall of Famer. He has 71 total TFLs in a Virginia Tech uniform as well. Let me see.
Possible. Possible. You get a bowl game in there. Maybe another game that isn't a bowl game and a regular season game. I don't know. We'll see. Special teams, not a whole lot to talk about. Boston College attempted a field goal to make it 24-35 with like 8 minutes left. I'm not really sure why they did that. I listened to Bill O'Brien in his post-game press conference. He was actually hilarious. Like a reporter asked him about it. He was like, yeah, I messed that up. I wouldn't do it again. Sorry. You can write in your article, I shouldn't have kicked it. I shouldn't have. My bad. Shouldn't have done it. That was funny.
Pretty hilarious considering that was their like second attempt all year, and it went pretty brutally.
It's true. Good call back. High snap. Dorian Strong picks it up. Did some nice high stepping and some celebrating. So we didn't make any mistakes. That was nice. I do want to say, I don't know if it happened twice. I know it definitely happened one time. We took a kick out from pretty deep in the end zone and got it to like the 10-yard line. I gotta imagine Virginia Tech off of kickoffs has one of the worst like starting field positions off of kickoffs. Gotta be better at that unit. But I really don't have. I really am having a hard time being upset with this. From Papa Mitchell, he did call. He said one thing to keep in mind: you guys are pretty close to getting punts blocked. So he actually predicted a punt blocked again before the end of the year. We hopefully we don't have that happen. But we, for the most part, good job on special teams. Solid effort.
Yeah, that was all I had in my notes. Peter Moore didn't have to use you that much. Always.
Hope you're okay. Got a little nicked up.
Yeah.
Got a little nicked up on a roughing the punter. So I hope he's all right. Look, in all, like, good win. I think it's going to be like.
That roughing the punter helped Tuten get the record.
Did it? That's right, because you were about to punt it back.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen,
it's a shout
it might just be another 200-yard performance.
If Peter Moore is not getting a game ball, we got to have a conversation.
Peter Moore, good job. No sell, though. He did get hit pretty hard. In all, look, good win. Please, I beg of you, stop with the absolute, like, forgetting how to play football for a quarter. It's really just, my light went out. It's really just we have to stop doing that. What would we look like if we didn't just take a quarter off from playing ball? With Mojo, we look much better, and every single game from here on out is going to feel like a must win. So just keep winning, and we'll give ourselves a real opportunity to give ourselves an opportunity.
This goes back to the students leaving, but like, why would they not want to stay for the opportunity to see a shutout? And I relay that to the guys on the field too. It's just like, hey, we're playing pitch and shutout ball after a half, and then have a quarter like that. Like, just it definitely leaves some room for concern. I mean,
I want to say, can I say this?
A lifeline.
I want to say this, though. I have a really hard time blaming the defense for the third quarter because we gave them the ball in the red zone twice.
Not blaming the defense.
I know you're not, but a lot of folks were like the defense just looked awful in the third quarter. It really wasn't the defense. It was kind of short field over and over and over again. It was like you can't call it a failure because we won the game, but it was a train wreck of a third quarter. In every phase of the ball game. So glad we sorted that out.
I think continuing, you need to take what we have right now from Stanford and from Boston College and continue to rewatch that Miami game and continue to see how close we were to beating Miami. Yeah. And this team should be undefeated in conference. Yeah, I don't think that's why are you giving me that look?
Why should we be undefeated in conference?
This team, you watched the Miami game? Like we gave that football game away. I feel much more comfortable saying that we should have beaten Rutgers and probably should have beaten Vanderbilt. I don't think that, like, and maybe we're splitting hairs here, but Miami's a really good football team, and we played them as well as anybody else did. I don't look at that Miami game and say we should be undefeated in conference. Like, the further distance we get from the Miami game, I'm like, that was a really upsetting call. It was a completely upsetting call.
number one, we're probably not playing with as much anger if that call doesn't go that way. And you kind of get that, like, everybody's against you kind of mentality. Number two, it was a crazy play to put us in a position. If you replay that scenario where Miami just scores, probably not winning that football game.
I'm still just hung up on the timeout before half and the squib kick and the fake field goal. Like I'm hung
That's
up.
That's a good point. I thought you were hung up on the call itself. No, I agree.
Like, the call was the call, but like the call isn't the reason we lost the football game.
Yeah.
We were in that position because of things that happened before the call, which we should not have been in that position. So that's where I say, hey,
I agree with you.
Continue to watch the film on the Miami game. Continue to use that as motivation. So we got 5 football games left, 3 at home, 2 on the road. Syracuse on the road is going to be scary. You got a team in Virginia that is probably going to be in a lot of games, but will not be winning a lot of games, but will be licking their chops for the rest of the year. We'll see how motivated they stay, just based on, they're probably going to be stacking up some more L's here. But it's really exciting to be here right now. We just need to continue to take advantage of this momentum, but like, we need the edge. We need the killer instinct. We need the 4 quarters. And I don't think we've really seen the killer instinct. I don't really think we've seen the edge consistently. To be confident against, Georgia Tech and covering a 2-possession spread, or welcoming in Clemson after having to go to Syracuse. Having to go to Syracuse sucks. That's going to be really hard. November 2nd, they're circling it. Syracuse is a good football team. They got Pittsburgh on Thursday night. They're going to have some extra time to prep for Virginia Tech. So it's going to be a battle this second half of the season.
What a gift. What a gift to be in a position.
What an opportunity.
Some difficult challenges ahead of us. Real quick on our over-unders here. First quarter, these are from Grant Watson. First quarter spread, he predicted 2.5. We crushed that. Jalen Lane over-under 39.5 receiving yards. He finished with 22, so we're on the under there. APR sacks, half, way over. And then Castellanos touchdowns rushing, 0. He was under. Predicted half. Wow. Just kind of crazy how that part of his game has just been completely either phased out or just not working, or what the situation is. So that was pretty surprising. I do want to add a couple things right now. 2 notes that are completely unrelated to this football game. Number one, our website is down. It's awful. We can't receive emails. Website's down. I'm hoping that this is resolved tomorrow. These big tech companies that don't have call-into support lines, just causing havoc across America. So just addressing that. Number 2, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Tony Bennett at UVA. He announced his retirement. This was like breaking news at the tailgate situation, where I got a notification on ESPN. It said Tony Bennett is retiring from basketball, effective immediately. Press conference on Friday. Jarring is really the only word that I can think of there. I've heard a lot of takes about this, and this can be its own podcast, so I don't want to go on it for too long, but this sport has changed so much on what is required from these coaches. And to bridge it back to this game, I said this about Jeff Hafley. You can say what you want about Jeff Hafley, but I believe that he left this game due to the NIL transfer portal, like money, like crazy situation. We're asking these coaches to do things that they've never had to do before and that are not coaching. It has nothing to do with coaching. You see Nick Saban exit the game. You see Boise State's longtime coach exit the game. I say all of this to say we will continue to lose good coaches in this sport across in college, basketball, football, rowing, whatever. You will continue to lose really good coaches who are, from everything I've heard about Tony Bennett, a really good person. It's just gotten out of control. But I do want to tip my cap to Tony Bennett. I love Tony Bennett. I really do. I think he's tremendous. And he's done an amazing job with that basketball program. So bummed out to see him retire. I really am.
Letters from the Pale.
No thoughts on Tony?
It was a total curveball. I didn't know we were going to be talking. I was like, where did that come from?
It was crazy though, because I was at the tail. I don't know when you got the news. I was at the tailgate and ESPN sent the notification of like, am I getting spoofed? Like, is this spam?
Why did he do it now? Why did he do it now though?
I don't know. Maybe some. I have some theories. I'm not going to share the theories because I don't want to. I don't want to create a rumor, but I do have some theories. Maybe something happened recently.
Yeah.
With this sport that was like, I don't want this anymore. And I got to be honest, I completely don't blame him at all. I will never blame a coach for saying, what are we doing? Nobody's in charge. And then just being like, I don't want to do it anymore. They also make enough money to not do it anymore. So that's a cool position to be in.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, it's not what he signed up for, you know, and he's just watching it get worse and worse and worse. And he's like, hey, this is not coaching basketball. This is coaching basketball becomes, 30% of it.
Yeah.
And dealing with X, Y, Z, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, I'm like Mike Young. You think Mike Young enjoys the NIL component of this? Like, no, Mike Young just wants
in America.
Mike Young just wants to go out there and coach some basketball.
Yeah.
And he wants to Mike Young wants to see a guy come out of, Richmond, Virginia, or down up in the DC area, and he wants to take him in as a freshman and have him graduate 4 years later and say, hey, this is my, like Wabisa, my little buddy. And then he graduates and he's a developed basketball player because Mike Young gets a lot out of his players if he has a lot of time to work with them. And that's not what we have right here. You had obviously like Hunter Couture. It's like a once in a million. That might be a little bit exaggeration, but you're not going to have your Hunter Coutures anymore. And it's a huge bummer because Virginia Tech is not going to be at the top of the ACC and competing with this type of basketball. And Tony Bennett saw that either UVA is not going to be the same thing either, or he's just, not going to put up with it.
Yeah. What a transition. Sorry for that. I feel like it had to be mentioned.
Okay. The letter from the lunch pail was about why are people leaving the game so early? Anyone who says they left because it was cold, guys, like every single one of you has the weather app on your iPhone or your Android.
It also wasn't that cold.
It wasn't that cold. It didn't get cold until, maybe mid third quarter. But listen, bring another sweatshirt. It wasn't that cold. So
wasn't that cold. I will say, Pat.
Am I cold shaming?
No, I will say respectfully, on both sides, male and female, there were some very unprepared dressed humans for this game, specifically students. So we don't want anyone getting frostbite, nobody getting pneumonia. Just throw a sweatshirt on, or at least bring one. Bring a sweatshirt, opportunity to stay warm. But I hope cold is not I don't think cold is the reason. I genuinely think the reason is like it's plaguing all of college sports, and I don't think anybody has an answer for it. I don't. Do you need to provide more alcohol? Do you need to provide Wi-Fi? Like I don't know. I don't know what to do.
All I'm going to tell you is that I went to the 7-Eleven on Roanoke Street, like the Roanoke and Main Street corridor, bought some Fireball nips before going in.
Yeah.
Threw them back after a few touchdowns.
Sure.
Kept me warmer.
I bet.
Added to the experience.
Hug your friends. Grip your pillow tight. I mean,
what are you talking about? Are we ready for the Sharky shoutouts?
Yes.
I did go to Sharky's. Really excited about that. I agree.
It's gonna be fun.
I think the downstairs back bar, it just feels so different because so many memories out on that back bar, out on that patio, and at the big table out back. Watching Virginia Tech beat Duke during the COVID year, people were freaking out back there. I think that back room not having like wood floors and like a lot of natural light just makes it feel a lot different. So it's going to take some time getting used to. Mentioned Brennan Johnson committing from Highland Springs. Congratulations to him and the Johnson family. Let's see. Carson Shaw. We walked into Lane Stadium and we brought the Beat BC pins that we had left over. And it's like, hey, you know what? I didn't get rid of all these at the tailgate. I'm just going to start handing them out in the stadium. And we were giving them out in the section. And Carson was like, hey, Billy Ray, can I get one? And Billy Ray is like, yeah, let me Frisbee it up to you. Like, I'm like,
oh my gosh, what a catch.
This is going to go awfully. And across like 5 or 6 rows, Frisbee's the pin. Carson makes a one-handed grab.
It was unbelievable.
Really, it was cinema. It was like, wow, we are going to win by a lot tonight. So that was exciting. Creative team, get some shout outs.
Good toss too. Catch was better, but the toss was also good.
I mean, we wouldn't be having the conversation if the toss wasn't good. Our creative team, Grant, Chris, Willie T, A-team out there, did a hell of a job. Really excited to see some of the stuff on YouTube that we'll be putting out here over the next few days. So great to see so many people on Thursday. Only in Blacksburg for about a day, and I feel like I saw the whole Section 5 club out there. Brent Holmes and the Holmes family. Saw Paul Bertner, as I mentioned, Eric Dehart, April and Barry Grizzard, Laura and Brad Ross, Big John, John Cran, and John Earl. We call them the 3 Johns of the Section 5 club. So all 3 of them. Jason Blanchett, Hal Byers. It was an epic start this weekend.
I got to give Dave Nouse a shout out because he let me know that there was so whoever bought Bryce's tickets. It was their 11th birthday. We got to sing "Happy Birthday." The whole section sang him "Happy Birthday." Ninth. Okay, 9th birthday. Man, he must have.
Not that that matters, but it matters.
Yeah. So he sang him "Happy Birthday." I thought that was great. Dave, thanks for the heads up. I don't know if you said it already. Eric Dehart. I love seeing Eric Dehart. He's just the man. Always got a smile on his face. A lot of energy. A lot of vibes. I also, when I was walking back from, I went over to go see Coach Stone and his lovely wife. Really enjoyed that. But I was walking back and I passed section 130 and I met this guy, Jacob. He just hit me with a, hey, man, keep doing it, man. Love the work. And I was like, dude, that rocks. Thanks, Jacob. You're the man. Appreciate you listening. And then Dr. J down in section 129. Always love to see Dr. J. I gave her a compliment on her new gym shoes. She was getting after it. Little snatch, little hang clean, power clean, deadlift. Looks great. Awesome stuff.
Ran into Bonge. Dude, that was a big moment.
Legend.
That was a big moment.
Big.
You know,
in the portal.
Bonge. We've been going back and forth on X for a while. Bonge rolls up for the Section 5 pick at the end. The Plank family, the Lavender family. Saw some other folks at the tailgate. I know I'm missing some, but really was one of my favorite days in Lane Stadium this year so far.
Time out. Before we wrap, I've been asked this by a couple of people. I know it's not feasible. Like, this is never going to happen. But some people were like, would you be willing to play every game on Thursday? The answer is no. But I do want to say, playing on Thursday is great. Number one. Number two, if you could sign a piece of paper right now where Tech would play 2 Thursday night games a year, would you do it?
At home.
At home. None of this NC State crap or Louisville or, 2 Thursday night games at home a year. Let me just say a couple things about Thursday. Number one, I love that Thursday night games, everybody that is there gives a damn. Everybody that is taking time off work or leaving work when they need to leave work or working from Blacksburg, doing whatever, they all want to be there. Students may leave early, but every single fan that makes the trip wants to be there and is loud. And that's why Thursday nights are so loud. Bill Roth said it was epically loud. It was epically loud. And we only had maybe 80% of the stadium full. At some points, we probably had like 70, 75% of the stadium full. And I love having my Saturday. I love having a stress-free Saturday of I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch football and drink beer all day. Tech already won. It's great. And you get the national eyeballs on Tech. Everybody's watching Tech. Everybody's talking about it. You know, Monday, you got people at work who don't even root for Tech. They're like, dude, I know you guys are playing on Thursday, right? Yeah, I'll watch that. I'll tune in. So, I'd sign up for that.
I think I'd like it if it was like one game mid to late September and the other one would have to be in November. Like you got to space it out. You got to space it out because it's a big commitment. And also it would dilute the special and uniqueness of the Thursday night game. Hey, you going back for the Thursday night game this year? I don't know which one. Oh, wait, there's two? Now I got to choose. Well, Georgia Tech, we have them on Thursday night, but like, we got Syracuse on Thursday night, and you're just like, oh, I don't know, and it's a coin flip, and all of a sudden, you know, maybe attendance is not. I mean, you saw StubHub and SeatGeek, like, I know it was a sellout, but the secondary market was pretty much non-existent. So, but there is something to be said for having your Saturday. I was in Colorado this weekend, so I've been sipping tea. I haven't slept that much this weekend. Just been on the move. But what is it? In Colorado, in Littleton for a wedding, home of Dalton Keene, and just got back today. But without that Thursday night game,
missing the game,
wouldn't have been able to do it all. You know,
missing the game.
So that was special. I didn't even have to watch football on Saturday. We had the wedding. Okay, my team already took care of business. I'm going to watch some highlights when I can. But I love that Virginia Tech is back on the Thursday night routine because there was a little bit. In 2015, we did not have a Thursday night game. 2017, we did not have a Thursday night game.
When did we play NC State?
2013. 2012, no Thursday night game on either. 2012, we did. We played Florida State, but not in 2013. What were you saying?
Yeah. Didn't we play NC State on Thursday in 2015, or was that on a Friday?
It was on a Friday. So we had Labor Day, Ohio State, Monday night, and then a Friday night NC State game.
That's right.
It is fun. It is fun to play on non-Saturdays because those games are 99% of the time a night game, which is nice. I also thought it was different that this upcoming Saturday, Georgia Tech is going to be the first, other than the Stanford game. You know, we went to Miami on a Friday night. We had the Thursday night game this past week. We had a bye week, and then we were at Stanford. It just felt like we were very much out of the Saturday flow, which is not the worst thing in the world if we're getting our own spotlight on Thursday.
If you're listening right now at the end of the podcast, comment Terror Dome. That's the word of the day. Comment Terror Dome on in the comments. Any last thoughts here before we hit the stop button?
We just hit 50 members of the Section 5 Club. Thank you guys. Special shout out to our Founders Club members, and looking forward to the next 50. This is a save the date, the Friday of the Clemson game. So Friday night, November 8th, Sons of Saturday, we'll be doing a bar tab for just our Section 5 Club members. So if you want to drink on the Sons of Saturday, head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/Sons of Saturday VT, and join the Section 5 Club. We will announce where and when, but it will be that Friday night before Clemson.
That is literally immediate ROI. Immediate ROI. $5. Drink for free. Hang out. Watch some ball. Why not?
It's nice.
Fun.
And then this weekend, if you are a young alumni, I don't know what the categorization is of young alumni, but there is a happy hour at Hokie House, so we will be there on Friday night. Check out our Instagram. We'll be promoting it this week. You do need to pre-register. There might be registrations at the door as well, but it's $10. There's drink tickets. It's a great time if you are a young alum, and come hang out with us.
Heck yeah.
Fly Swatters. Bring them out. Beekeeper Bill.
Tell you what, if we win this game, there are going to be ridiculous levels of positivity. Would love to see that. So we'll see. Thanks for tuning in. As always, Billy Ray and Pat here in Charlotte. Pat, we should get together for the Pittsburgh game on Thursday. Pitt, who's Pitt playing? Pitt Syracuse in Syracuse. That'll be a fun game.
I think we want a Syracuse win. Fluff up Syracuse for the rankings when we go up there. Pittsburgh gets one of the yellow column.
This will be a game time decision. I might be doing another pod on the feed on just college football as a whole. But one thing to keep in mind that I thought was really interesting was, just as everyone predicted, here we are on October 20th, and LSU and Texas A&M will be playing each other for sole possession of first place in the SEC this weekend. Pretty crazy how it's shaken out in the SEC. SEC is a serious quarterback problem, everybody. Serious quarterback problem. But anyway.
Hey, speaking of problems,
sure.
The ACC might be in some tiebreaker problems with the way the race might shake out.
So, yes.
We're going to break it down. Not now.
This is the problem, though. This is the problem, though, with these massive conferences that aren't playing everybody, and you don't have divisions. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. I mean, we put Robert Irby on this in the group chat, and he was like, sending like math equations and, win percentages and, pi divided by Pitt. Like, it was just crazy. But we'll figure it out. Just got to keep winning.
More conference games is the solution. We got to move to 9. With this current setup, we got to move to 9.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, friends and family. We'll talk to you guys in a few days. Beat Georgia Tech.